So first off, first question coming out of the gates.
Yeah.
How did you get started in real estate and get your first 21 doors? And then how did you meet Grant Cardone? Because did you start off as a pilot and then get into real estate?
So I actually started out as a sales guy because he didn't even have a pilot or he didn't have an airplane yet. Grant was doing a podcast, Power Players. And he said, look, the most important thing is to get underneath the roof of somebody who you want to be like, right? My career in real estate started when I was 13 years old. My uncle was a builder in Fountain Hills. You know Scottsdale very well. He was building homes. It was like, and I was mesmerized about timing because in real estate, timing is very important, right? But I got into real estate and I was watching him build homes and I was like asking a bunch of questions, but I hit 17 years old and I realized I was like, hey, I want to buy my first house. I want to buy my first investment. And he looked at me and he's like, son, you don't have any money. Like you have no money in the account. And I'm like, oh shit, what do I do? And at the time he bought a little Cessna, which was a 4-passenger little 4 piston, like little prop, right? And he had always wanted to be a commercial airline pilot. And I had no idea, like when I was growing up, I dropped out in 11th grade. I ended up going back and getting my diploma, but I was not the kid who people bet on to say, you are going to be the most successful individual out of high school,
Are you
right?
saying you weren't class valedictorian?
I was not. I was.
Me neither. So I get it.
Well, because you and me are similar age. Like entrepreneurs back 20 years ago, that wasn't actually the popular word. That was like, you're a loser.
I don't think I even heard of the word entrepreneur.
That's right. But if you got called an entrepreneur, because that's what we really were, like I wasn't interested in school. I was interested in like making money and like, how do I get my first car and how do I get my first, like I was literally thinking about buying my first home when I was 16 and 17 years old. But I was faced with, you don't have any money. And so my uncle, I looked at him one day because he's like, hey, come flying with me. And I looked at him one day. I was like, man, I could actually get paid to do this. Like I'm working in factories. My first job was at Subway and Jiffy Lube. Like I did all the same things that everybody else does to try to get that paycheck to get your first car, to impress whoever, right? But then I got hooked into aviation. Like I got hooked into aviation so much where from the age of 17 to 20 years old, all I did was fly. That's it. I had no friends. I just flew airplanes actually at Williams Gateway.
Which is, what's crazy about the story is this sounds like what my son is going to do. Hudson he nowadays you can play video games where you have like the whole setup of like to be able to fly planes, like
the simulators
and stuff. He loves it. If you ask that kid what he wants to do, he says, I want to be a pilot.
Interesting.
It's weird. So you were just bit by that bug. He's 14.
He's 14, yeah.
So you just got bit by the bug when you saw the plane and you were like, you know what? I'm going to nerd out on this and do this.
Well, I was always fixing things, right? Like I was racing cars and I was building engines and helping him. Like my brother would wreck his car or wreck his motorcycle. And I'm the one who was helping my uncle fix things. And so what's the ideal scene of moving from motorcycles to cars to airplanes? And actually it was interesting. I wasn't a pilot at the time, but I was telling people that I was wanting to become a pilot. And the way that their eyes lit up, there was something unique about it. When I told people I'm training to become a pilot, there was an instant, not just respect, but like infinity, like, wow, like that's so crazy. That's so cool. Like, what's it like? And it really opened up a lot of cool conversations. I was like, man, I'm hooking into something that's just bigger than me. Because aviation's a trip. Like you think of communities, aviation, like you're surrounded by the best of the best. All these people do is train all day. Like they want to be the best. They want to be sharp. They want to, and then the owners of the airplanes, they want to be the best. They're sharp. Like, so there's different levels of the aviation game. I just knew when I got into it, it was a lot bigger than what I was thinking with at like 15, 16. Because I graduated high school when I was like 16, 17 years old. I was young for graduating. And so I needed to figure out what I wanted to do. Thank God I figured it out soon.
I love that. My dad, so my mom passed away last year.
Sorry to hear that.
Cancer. Yeah. I fucking hate cancer.
God.
It's the worst. It's the worst, man. Somehow I skirted through life and nobody close to me passed away that I really loved or cared about.
Yeah.
I just got lucky.
Yeah.
So I made it all the way to, in my 40s. And then all of a sudden your mom passes away of cancer and it really fucks your head up.
Yep.
And it almost,
it's such a big loss.